Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your ever-loving host, Shorty. We're going to have a quick look at the first one of the Horizon experiment today, the Manchurian. Although to start off with, I'm going to talk about something else just slightly differently, just for a little bit, because there's a whole bunch of stuff that's out this week that I'm not going to bother reviewing. It's going to be pretty light on the ground, simply because I don't care how you mix and match Naruto, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Usagi Yojimbo, Masters of the Universe, or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't think I can say anything really exciting about how you're going to do that. So I'm just going to stick to the few things that I'm on my pull list this week, which means, thankfully, I'm not going to run out of them. I get to review all of them, like Manchurian. This has only been on my list for a while because, I apologise, I've genuinely found an interview to how to pronounce this guy's name. I'm sure I'm still getting it wrong. Piché Schott. He's the guy who did the Good Asian, like the Eisner Award being Good Asian. And with the little bit of cachet that's given him, well, the massive amount of cachet, he has done the Horizon experiment. And I don't want to spend too long talking about that right now. I want to review this comic book. So instead I'm going to say go and Google the Horizon experiment, find out what's going on, have a look at the various creators that are involved in the stories they're telling, and let your local comic book store know if you want any of them. I am down for every single one of them, because I think it's a really cool thing he's doing anyway, and I think the stories are all going to be pretty cool. Like, there's not a single idea that doesn't grab hold of me. This one, it's a spy thing, and not a huge fan of spy fiction. I've got friends who are constantly trying to get me to get more into James Bond, and I don't even have the patience for Jason Bourne. So I just feel like it's an area of storytelling which doesn't really grab hold of me. Thankfully, this one does something different, and it does it in a way which is interesting and basically different enough to stand out to me. First off, it's really, really good looking. It is the Dodsons. Apologies, I have absolutely forgotten both of their names. I want to say Rachel? Terry? I mean, I could be wrong. No, Rachel and Terry, I got it right, yay. And even though I forgot their name, it's worth pointing out these people are, according to the background of this book and my own personal opinion, comic book artist royalty. There's very little I can say about them that you don't already know. I will say, having read this one with the kind of story I've got in my mind for it, it's kind of weird to see how much of influence other creators I like. There's a little bit of Layla Lays in this. There's a little bit of Bruno Redondo, I think is it, the guy who does Nightwing at the moment. You can see what's going on here and see that in the comic books they're doing. It's really nice to see that kind of organic like growth of an idea. And it also kind of makes sense because one of those people has done spy kind of stories. What makes this one stand out, apart from the amazing art, and when I say amazing art, by the way, I've really got to say, there's a really nice way they've got of zooming in and pulling out depending on the thing that's actually happening. They know exactly when to tight focus, and it means when the combat happens, it is absolutely brilliant. But when it is just people talking, there's still a sense of grandeur to it. Really, really, really good stuff. Like, no notes. But the thing that makes it stand apart in the writing is the fact that it's doing different spy things. For a start, it's trying its best to do something which I think would be feasible, like maybe even realistic, maybe even, this is a thing that's happening. I don't know. They claim it isn't. They claim that this is all made up, but I'm totally going to go along with that one. But I kind of like the idea that instead of going for a James Bond, the enigmatic, handsome super spy with all the gadgets and going around telling everyone his name because he's the best spy in the world, or Jason Bourne who can kill a man 37 different ways with a spork, we just have this idea, there's a whole bunch of people who are helping out the Chinese government by just finding stuff out in the same kind of casual way you'd find a lot of things out. People tell you things. When you're friendly, when you're a nice person, people just chat with you. And you find out the one extra thing that maybe it wasn't their intention to share, but it makes a story better to give all the details. And then these people are part of a network which reports back to China, mostly in terms of industrial espionage rather than political, but that's a whole thing, which I'm sure people are part of to this channel know I have thoughts on. But to make it a little bit more exciting, and not to say that that kind of writing isn't exciting in its own way. I mean, you've got to look at some of the more unusual British spy fiction to see what it's actually like to be living behind enemy lines, as it were, and how terrifying it would be to maintain a very obvious outward banal experience, because the more dangerous it is, the more likely you are to die. What you want is nobody to think about you at all. But just in case, there are these people, the Manchurians, who are there to protect you. And here we have the Jason Bourne-esque kind of character. I want to say Jason Bourne-esque, actually, much more lo-fi, I think. Like, yes, absolutely brilliant at infiltrating and exfiltrating, master of close combat, but they kind of just get by doing their day-to-day kind of job. But then the writing really kicks up a gear here. Yes, there's some bits where there's maybe a little bit too much exposition for my taste, but it all kind of makes sense. But also, with flashbacks and realising what they've been doing in terms of foreshadowing, you realise that this is a very intricate story we're told, involving billions of chess pieces on a massive board, and you don't know exactly what movement is going to cause ripples like that butterfly causing whirlwinds 2 continents over. It feels like that's the kind of vibe they're going for. Like, nobody really knows what's going on, and everyone's trying to deal with it in the best way, dealing with the stress of it, trying to maintain relationships, trying to justify actions against the state that they're living in. And it turns out to be this really good, complicated story, which looks amazingly pretty. I am really glad I put it on my pull list. The Horizon Experiment, though, only gives you issue 1 of each thing, and I'd like to think that this is the one that we're going to continue, because I actually want to find out what goes on next. It absolutely intrigued me, and I might be making a turnaround on my not liking spy fiction if it's all this good. That's it from me for now, though. Tune back in for the rest of this week with other comics that I already pulled, because I'm already going to like them. Until I see you again, though, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye!